and he said that he actually went to his garage and sanded it down because he wanted a little bit smoother. And then look at that, he sold it on eBay. That guy sold it, and Nuno got it. And then Nuno turned it into the 4N, and because he loved the profile he did in his garage so much. That turns out, as of right now, to be false. So I don't know what that story was about, but it was not about the 4N that Nuno plays today.
Man, I got called out in front of Nuno Bettencourt in a video by Masters of Shred for supposedly making up a story about my old N4. It's regrettable, but that's the way it was done, so I need to respond. I detailed my story in a video over 5 years ago, and real quick it goes like this. I bought an N4 when it was new in 1991. I played it for many years. I did some work on it in order to maintain it, including the application of sandpaper. And I eventually stopped playing it because it didn't fit what I was doing anymore. I sold it 14 years later. I thought that was the end of the story for me with that guitar, but then some years later, I ran across a video where a new replica 4N signature model was being introduced. I wasn't an N4 user anymore. I didn't even know that Nuno Bettencourt was playing a different N4 than his original. But my interest was piqued and I did a couple searches. That's when I saw that his 4N was actually my old N4, so I had a connection to it. So I made a video using the personal photos I'd kept of the guitar. I figured what I knew about the guitar might help fill in the blanks for other people who had questions, because the information out there was that the guitar was different in various ways, but nothing was said about how it might have come to be different. And that's where I thought I could shed some light. No big deal. I never thought of my video as being controversial, and as far as I know, it hasn't caused any controversy until now. I think it's plain to anyone watching that first video that the receipts clearly do add up. But now this Masters of Shred guy comes along and casts my story in a negative light. It's actually a pretty cool video, and I was enjoying it right up to the point where it took that unexpected and unnecessary turn. I don't know if the interviewer was just seizing on a bomb they thought they could drop or what, but that section of the video seemed a bit more planned out and unnatural to me compared to the rest of it. Like, the interview tees it up with a preamble about misinformation on the internet, and then he takes his own swing at it, declaring my story false before Nuno even responds. And then when Nuno does respond, he just cracks a joke about doing fact-checking and tells simply that he got the guitar from Steven Schurman. So I'm making this video for the dude at Masters of Shred and anyone else who might now be doubting my integrity. I didn't need to include this before, but I've actually talked to Steven. We connected on the old Washburn forum back in 2010. That forum's long gone, but I searched my Gmail archive and I found the initial contact message sent to me by him. Any guesses as to what he might have been contacting me about? Hey Joe, left you a reply on the Washburn forum, as I am the current owner of that precious one-piece 91 Davies you once owned. Really cool to hear some of the history. Cheers, Steven. Another thing immediately after making the video is I received large prints of the 4N as a gift. These included shots of the serial number, which to no one's real surprise is a match. By the way, I got those photos from a photographer after she saw my video, and she had taken them for a book she was about to publish called Immortal Axes. That's how those came about. Now, if I had the kind of channel where the goal was to get as many clicks as possible, I would have made a follow-up video right away with new information and tried to stretch out that hype train. And I probably would have put like a big red arrow somewhere on the thumbnail. But practically no one in the comments section thought my story was false, so why should I bother? As for the part of the story where I discuss sanding the neck, that's just factual. I did that to clean it up in the first couple years because the unfinished neck kept turning a little green. I needed to take more off the first couple times in the lower position, but after that it became kind of a yearly routine, taking off just enough to make it smooth again. Here's a shot that shows the bolts for the lock nut having obviously been sanded. That's because I got lazy and stopped bothering to remove them. Remember, this was a 14-year process and the change happened very slow for me. So what's controversial about that? I never said I did it because I thought I was improving the neck profile. All right, I think I'm done. Bottom line is, a guy with no first-hand knowledge of the guitar in front of Nuno wants to say that I made up a story. Think about that. He's telling my story to one of my guitar heroes who's been one of my guitar heroes for like the past 30 years and saying I lied. He didn't use the word liar, but I mean, there's no other way to interpret that really. I had never planned to make another video about this, but I had to respond. He tried to label my story as internet misinformation, but only succeeded in spreading misinformation on the internet. He could have reached out to me at any time if he had doubts about my story, and I would have told him the same thing I've said here. Anyway, I think I've made the record straight again, so cheers, everyone.